So I've already shot at this venue. I'll put the link somewhere here. So it's actually the same band as well. So we're just going to see just how we get on today. This is not really anything other than get to see. Bringing this one along though. Doesn't often appear on this side, but yeah, he's coming along.
Let's get straight into this. 10 tips on how to shoot small venue gig photography. So the first one I'm going to tell you now is know your potential lighting. That means showing up early. Potential lighting, it probably will change throughout the day or throughout the session even, but you need to kind of have an idea. I mean, if you look at these footage now that I've taken and then look at the late ones of the headliners of Darnell, you'll see a dramatic difference in the lighting, but I kind of get an idea of what I'm working with. In these small venues, you need to make sure you're packing light. There's often not an actual dedicated pit area, so don't be walking around with a big bag. Strip back your lenses. I took a 24-70 for this venue and a 40mm. Honestly, I don't want to be too blunt about this. They don't have the need to have a super wide one unless you really desperately need it. I don't. Pack some extra batteries, some extra cards, and I chucked in a Lens Baby Omni filter for some slight detail shots, but everything else is light and kept on my body. Show up early for the support. That's tip 4. Make sure you're there to try and catch the support if you can, if that's what you're kind of for, because one, they are up and coming, and you could get some superstars in the future, but also because they're really grateful and often share your work really heavily. Just make sure they know to credit it. Make sure you move. Shoot high, shoot low, shoot slightly from the back, because in small venues you can move around a lot more. Not necessarily in the big venues if they've got a dedicated pit, but don't be afraid to move about. Okay, this one made me feel uncomfortable, but tip 5 is don't worry about ISO. Now you're gonna see from the images where I've shared the settings how high my ISO is. On average, it's anywhere between 2,500 to 4,000. I really just need to get the shot, and the ISO, you know, sometimes a little grain makes it beautiful. There's also with updates to Lightroom that you can reduce that grain. And that brings me on to tip number 6. Shoot raw. A lot of people have told me that they favour shooting JPEG now with the mirrorless cameras. I've always been a shoot raw girly. I just think for me it gives me a lot more flexibility in editing. There's nothing wrong with shooting JPEG, but for me, and this is obviously my video and my tips, I say shoot raw. If you do have to send the images off immediately in between sets, sometimes it helps to shoot JPEG. But even when I do concert photography, I tend to just shoot raw and have the preset ready to go. It's just how I favour. But there's no right and wrong with this one. Take it as you will, but I shoot raw. This is a great tip for those bands that are a bit more energetic. So tip 7 is shoot burst mode. You want to get that quick frame rate to shoot because you're going to capture the action. Another tip, which is tip 8, which is to watch your shutter speed. Don't be afraid to, as well as use a sharp shutter speed, look at using a slow one to catch some blur, because you know what, it can really work. I didn't use it so much in this gig, but if you look at my last video on this, which I did link at the start, you'll see I did use a slower shutter speed, so don't be afraid of that. So tip 9 is, it's not great if you're an introvert, I will admit, but when you are out at these gigs, you're going to meet other photographers and you're going to meet crew and other band members. Make sure you network with them, be polite. Now, not every single person you're going to meet is going to be lovely. I have met photographers who happily place their lens on top of my head with sharp elbows. Just be the professional. Sometimes the crew will notice that they're knobheads and deal with them. But network, because you never know. Some of the greatest gigs I've got is because of word of mouth about how easy I am to work with, and other bands have recommended me, other crew members have recommended me, PR companies have recommended me, the bands have shared their images. So network. Honestly, show up, do a good job, be polite. You can get by so well. And this is a top tip that I cannot get over how many people overlook this: ear protection. Honestly, you're going to be a bit near speakers. I get that you might love music, but you need to protect your hearing. Tinnitus is no joke. Hearing loss is no joke. So wear ear protection. I don't care if you wear those big over-ear ones, the in-ear ones, invest, get some decent ones. Even if you can't and you lost out, loads of venues have the foam ones. Please wear them. Let's talk bonus tips. Tiny venues. There are so many people that go, I'm not shooting that because it's a small dingy venue. Do not do that. You honestly, you never know what band you're going to photograph early on in their career, or you might see a great band like Darnell Carr, who sells out all over the UK and played this small venue here in Northampton, the Black Prince, okay? It's a great venue, but it is one of our smaller ones. And he do you know what? He hires me time and time again. Do not get put off by small venues. Honestly, they're a great place to start your career, but also a great place to keep your career momentum going, because Darnell keeps hiring me. Other bands that see my work, that hire me. I get a lot of work from these so-called small venues. So do not get put off, even if it's someone's back garden. One of the bands I photographed was in someone's back garden, and now they're playing stages similar to this. And this is a great bonus tip too, and it's video and content creation. Now, all the footage of the bands, so not the one at the start, it was just me, all the footage of the bands were recorded on my camera while I was shooting. I used the Nikon Z6, I think it was the Mark II I actually used this time, and I use this. Now, this is the raw unedited footage, there's no filters, nothing added to it. And I send this sometimes to the bands. Not only do they love it, but also gets me rebooked, and it's great for my own content, for my own marketability, because I can do videos like this. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video, my loves. I really appreciate your support.